People with major birth defects also enjoy regular lifestyle similar to that of people bearing no defects at all. You must live every day in the moment, but here and now, which is exhausting. Find a support group that knows about your type of disability and always push for a solution. Never give up on making things better, even if there is only a small, simple win. Find a doctor that you can be very candid with and ask those impossible questions like, if I have stem cells stored from my children's birth, can I use it in XYZ situation? Share with a close friend who is in similar situation when you feel exhausted by the disability. The comrade will make things better. Find love in your family and spend time on the important things, like sitting together, reading aloud, making up simple stories, our cat takes adventures, and eating simple meals. When things go bad, it's okay to give yourself 20 minutes and walk away if the person or child is safe. Get a cup of coffee, breathe, answer an email, and then just return with renewed spirit that we all are here for a special reason, and we just haven't learned what that is yet. I'm learning every day. The prognosis is very poor. Most affected babies do not survive beyond the first week of life. It has been reported that the survival rate varies from 10 months to 25 years, with supportive treatment depending on the severity of the condition. I rushed to the hospital. I've never seen anything like this, the surgeon said. Our pregnancy checkup had gone well. There was never a reason to believe something was wrong. Our excitement turned to disbelief. Every routine pregnancy checkup had gone well. Our baby girl had a strong heartbeat, 10 fingers, 10 toes, and a cute button nose. There was never any indication something was wrong. So when the day finally arrived almost a year ago, and I started feeling contractions, my husband and I rushed to the hospital feeling excited. Unfortunately, our excitement soon turned into something else, disbelief. We were thrown into a whirlwind. I'll forever remember the moment. Kevin said everything was normal. The doctor told me to get my camera out and take a picture, and then everything just became quiet. The world around us stopped right before chaos erupted. I did not get to hold my baby girl in my arms. Instead, our baby, Harper, was immediately taken to the neonatal intensive care unit. She wasn't supposed to make it. Doctors had never seen anything like it. Harper was encased in a hard, thick skin. She was covered in thick plaques, much like armor, all over her body. Her skin was pulled so tightly that her eyelids had flipped inside out, and the blood flow to her extremities was being constricted, causing discoloration in her limbs. Her outlook looked grim, and so doctors had Harper transferred to Seattle Children's to see a team of specialists. Harper was diagnosed with harlequin ichthyosis, or HI, an extremely rare genetic condition that affects the skin. It is estimated to occur in only about 1 in 500,000 babies. This specific defect affects the individual cells of the epidermis. They aren't able to be held in place. And Dr. D.P. Gupta, a dermatologist at Seattle Children's Hospital, it's like building with bricks, but you're missing the mortar. She's missing the glue that holds it all together. Due to the rare incidence in cases of HI, there wasn't a lot of literature aside from anecdotal approaches to help steer the direction for treatment, and so Seattle Children's specialists from dermatology, plastic surgery, anesthesia, and neonatology came together to discuss Harper's case and to make a plan. I had never seen a case like this in person, and I'll probably never see one again, said Dr. Raymond C., a plastic surgeon at Seattle's Children's. My first question was, is this child going to survive? From what we learned about the condition, there's about a 50% mortality rate, which usually occurs in the first few weeks of life. We knew if we were going to save her, we were going to need to do something quickly. The first few weeks of Harper's life were filled with difficult decisions. Doctors were concerned she was going to lose her fingers or limbs if they didn't surgically release the skin that was constricting blood flow. In some cases, constriction of extremities can result in auto-amputation, where the limbs suddenly detach on their own. The literature we found on HI showed survival rates were often poor, but with the use of an oral retinoid and new surgical procedures, patients were surviving, said Gupta. We needed to reverse her poor blood flow as soon as possible and use surgical procedures to save her limbs and ultimately improve her quality of life. Harper's thick skin wasn't cracking at her hands and feet, and so doctors performed a series of surgeries to crack the skin to release the constriction and increase blood flow. We ran into a lot of questions that we didn't have answers to, said C. We had to come up with a solution together. I think Harper's case shows the value in teamwork. There were a lot of people involved in her care. I was a small team player. My part was saving her limbs. It took a much larger team to save her life. As soon as the constriction was released, Harper showed dramatic improvement. Her blood flow improved, and doctors were able to save most of her fingers. When people are faced with certain types of chaos, you have to figure out how to deal with it. In the beginning, we were just finding ways to cope. It was like we were sleepwalking. We met so many different people, from chaplains to doctors and nurses. You name it, and they came by. We had a community of support around us. We needed them all because her condition was so complex. Harper's care presented unique challenges for doctors and nurses as she continued to progress. Since her skin was so fragile, even simple tasks like keeping her hydrated, changing her diaper, or feeding her a bottle presented challenges. Many of the usual nursing techniques couldn't be utilized on her, and so the neonatal intensive care nurses found creative solutions to every problem that arose. For 2 months, Harper stayed inpatient in Seattle Children's NICU, under the watchful eye of a team of nurses and doctors. When we first saw Harper, her outlook looked grim, said Dr. Craig Jackson, a neonatologist at Seattle Children's. But we didn't give up hope. We thought she would make it, and we were willing to go the extra mile for her. The nurses who cared for her every day were key to her survival. We see children who have the rarest conditions, and through meticulous management, we help them get better. Seattle Children's was the first hospital in Washington state to have been designated a Level 4 NICU, the highest designation possible, equipped to care for the tiniest and most critically ill newborns. Just before Halloween, we were finally able to bring Harper home for the first time. Every day we faced a new challenge, but we took it all in stride. Once the plaques of her skin started to come off, you could see our beautiful Harper emerge. My husband and I liken her skin to that of a snake. Every 2 or 3 hours, she sheds her skin. Everywhere she goes, she leaves a little trail behind. She's unique and special like that. Harper still makes visits to Seattle Children's for occupational therapy and physical therapy to help with minor delays she still has with movement, but she's made tremendous progress. Cognitively, she has no delays, and eventually she should be able to catch up with her peers. She started at a harder place than most people, but she has made leaps and bounds, said Gupta. There wasn't anything that could have prepared Harper's family for this, but they've been her rock. She'll always have red, scaly skin and will be more prone to skin infections, but there should be no barriers for her. Although Harper will always live with HI, we are hopeful about her future. Looking back at her first year of life, it's hard to believe how far we've come. We want her to just be like any other kid. Society today places a lot on looks. We're hoping she can overcome some negative stereotypes and thrive. She's already overcome so much. We didn't think she'd survive, and now she's celebrating her 3rd birthday. She's our miracle. Angie said that the opportunity to model came along at the right time for Harper, who loves singing and dancing and posting for the camera. However, this baby lost her battle early. The 1.8-kilogram girl was diagnosed with harlequin ichthyosis, a disorder that occurs once in 300,000 births, and her body was covered with thick plates of hardened, cracked skin and her internal organs visible. She was put on oxygen on Monday morning and died at the privately run Lata Mangeshwar Medical College and Hospital. She was born to a 23-year-old woman from Amravati in the Vagbara region of Maharashtra on Saturday. The father of the baby, a poor farmer from Avarati, and her grandmother were shocked to see her. However, they've accepted the situation, said Dr. Kajal Mitra, the dean of the hospital. The baby was not shown to the mother till Sunday, and she broke down when she saw her child on Monday afternoon in the presence of a group of doctors.